Hello everyone, it's Chi Chi and we're here with another Minecraft tutorial with a voiceover. We're taking it back a little bit, back into the SMP with a barn build. So I'm starting this build a little bit differently than how I start my builds now, with the fence first. So this is a mint green barn that I built for my cows for the community animal area on the SMP. I went over here and chased this cat because we have a village right behind the barn. That's where our village used to be on the SMP, and we kept getting, like, you'll see a couple of cats spawn throughout this build because I kept getting cats from that village. But you can see the coop right next to this barn, which unfortunately I don't have the recording for, but I did get this cute mini cow barn, which is made with birch, light gray stained glass, and warped slabs. Which again, I'm using Mizuno 16 Craft as my primary texture pack, so that is what the mint green wood is. So I did cut out some stuff, kind of like what I told you all I did for my first tutorial, which was that greenhouse build. This is actually built before that greenhouse build, but here's the village that I was talking about. Sometimes people will ask while I'm building to like show the village or show where certain stuff is coming from. So I had stopped while I was doing the build to actually show people where the cats were coming from because they were asking me. And if you're curious about when I do these builds, I very often do them on stream. And if you're interested, you can find me on Twitch as Chi Chi and TikTok as Chi Chi Streams. And then I also very often stream on YouTube while I'm streaming on those other platforms. But we started with the foundation, which was made of these birch logs, and I did end up stripping these birch logs. So this is the foundation, and you will see that I changed this side a little bit because I knew that I wanted an area for the cows to be able to graze. So birch logs kind of built up to create the foundation, and this is all in 2x speed. Last time I did a tutorial, I think I only did it in like maybe 1.5x speed, and I did cut out a lot of the resource gathering, so if you see some cuts in the video, it's because I did cut out some of the resource gathering for this build. This was back when the server was a lot smaller than it is now, and so although it only takes one person to sleep on the server, I'm fairly certain that nobody was on the server at this time. Nowadays, you cannot really be on the server at any point in time and not have at least one person on, which means that I don't have to sleep as much, which I think is pretty nice. I was trying to figure out like why this didn't look even to me. So that's why I'm like pausing so much here. I'm like, why the heck doesn't this look even? I did unfortunately end up having to actually close this community area down because people kept killing all of the animals. I'm like, you guys, please, like, at least leave two of my animals. People would bring like untamed wolves to the area, and then they would like name them so they wouldn't despawn. So people would bring like animals to the area. People would kill all the animals. Like it was just getting really bad. So I did end up having to close the community farm areas down, but I'll be probably opening it back up again. This is the, oh, I guess actually it looks like I actually did finish the house from the last tutorial before this one. I don't know why I thought I finished this barn first, but that's actually good to know. So now we're starting with the walls, and I knew that I wanted this barn to be super simple, and unlike the last tutorial, this barn is my own design, so I do have to undo a lot of the work that I do, and I do pause a lot during this build. So I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing that I pause a lot, because I think sometimes people see Minecraft builders do their builds and they see us kind of zoom through builds and think that, you know, we are just able to do builds super easily and super quick, and that's not necessarily always the case. A lot of times when I've done like my speed builds that I post on like TikTok, or that I do like my really aesthetic cinematic builds of, those are duplicate builds. So like I've already, you know, gone through the grueling process of figuring out how to do this build, and I'm doing it for a second time with much more experience and much more knowledge of how the build will go, and it just makes it a much easier process, right? And it makes it look a lot more smooth to you all. And when you see that, you might think, okay, this person is really, really good at building, but it's less that I'm good at building and more that I've already built this before. And of course, the second time around, it's going to be a lot easier. And so, all that to say that if you see someone doing a build really, really well, and maybe you're struggling a little bit, please don't take it as that person didn't struggle either, or that that person is a better builder than you, because that's not necessarily what it means. There are so many different factors that go into making a new build, and we all conceptualize our builds a lot differently each time. So just be patient with yourself, especially when you're first starting out with building and you're first learning like what building can be like on Minecraft, and especially if you're not using like mods or anything like that, because mods and like custom item texture packs make your game and the building experience a completely different thing. So just be patient with yourself and allow yourself the opportunity to make mistakes. But you'll see me make a bunch of mistakes. You'll see me undo things, redo things, and just kind of do a lot of stuff that maybe doesn't look right away. I also build in a very different way that maybe doesn't really make sense to some people, because I conceptualize things in my head a little bit weird. I build based off of like sides of my building, and then I copy the sides of that building onto the other side. So I think about what I want that side of my build to look like, and then I complete that side, and then I will repeat that on the other side. which I know can be a little bit confusing for a tutorial style build, which is why I'm kind of working to change the way that I do my builds, because I know they can be a little bit difficult to follow. So if this is difficult to follow, please definitely feel free to let me know so that I can kind of improve as a Minecraft YouTuber and be able to make more quality builds for you all. But either way, I'm going to stop all my yapping and let you all enjoy the build for a bit. So on the inside of this build, I definitely wanted something that was more natural, and I wanted something for all of the interiors of this build where the cows and the sheep could graze. I know that the cows don't actually eat the grass, but I like to imagine that they do, and so I wanted to make it so that they would be able to graze and stuff. So that is why I kind of designed the interior to be more open, and why I didn't start with the floor this time around. Again, although I did remove a lot of the resource gathering, some of the resource gathering is in this video, and it's so interesting to see how much this town has changed, because if you come to this area now, like if you were to hop onto the soybean SMP now, this area is completely full of houses. Like, you cannot plant trees here and be able to get wood here like you could back when I did this build. And this footage is from May of this year. You could not do this anymore, and so it's really interesting to see this footage and think about how much the SMP has changed, because, you know, back when I recorded this video, we had maybe 30 people on the SMP, and now we have 300 people on the SMP. But the design of the barns or the animal areas in general are meant to be more natural and very, very simple. They're all made of birch and warped wood because I knew I wanted them to be mint, but they are very, very natural. Also, this was when I started to realize that I was running out of the warped wood. So there is a point where you're going to see the footage cut a little bit sometime soon. That is because I went to the Nether to go get some wood. But you'll see this area has some wood to it. And then there's like a grazing area on the outside. I always get asked, once again, why do I stack the slabs? I think this is like one of my most commonly asked questions on stream. Why do you stack the slabs instead of just using full blocks, or even just using the slab on the top part of the block? And it's because this is how you make the white wood with Mizuno 16 craft. So that is why I stack the slabs like this. But this is where I started to work on the grazing area. And the lanterns are just so cute. Like, it's just so, like, cottage-y. I don't know. This is very cute. Keep scaring all the little cats that have spawned in my area, but this is where, like I said, I'm building this like grazing area. I imagine the cows go inside and hang out inside, and then they come out here to actually be able to graze. Entrance. Another thing that really bothered me about this area is that I have all these like cute little haystacks, and they're literally supposed to be decorative, and I kid y'all not, why were people stealing my haystacks? Like, I came back one day and some of these haystacks right here were missing. And I'm like, there's no way y'all actually stole my haystacks. My decorative haystacks for my cows. A lot of the stuff that I do, like a lot of the decorative stuff I do in my builds is to avoid working on the roof. And I've noticed that as I've been editing and like voicing over my builds, a lot of the time when I start decorating early on in my builds, it's to avoid doing the roof, because the base of this build is already done. All I have left is to work on the roof, and I just really don't want to do it. And so instead of doing the roof, I'm just sitting here like decorating, when I know dang well I should just be finishing this roof. But I'm gonna finish it, don't worry. here is where we finally start getting into the roof. And similarly to my last video, I'm kind of just going to do a little cozy music while we do the roof. But another tip, my last tip for my last video for when you're doing a roof was to use leaves, especially if you're doing a natural kind of design. But with this video, and this tutorial, this one does not have a natural design and I can't really use leaves to cover up my area. But something that I suggest if you're having a hard time designing a roof is to use a combination of slabs, planks, and stairs for your roof, for one, and add some dimension with spaces between those different things. I feel like where people kind of struggle is that their roofs tend to be like kind of flat, or the area around their roof and near the trim of their house tends to be pretty flat, and that just brings more attention to that area because there's nothing to distract from the roof. But if you make it less flat, then there will be more things that draw people's attention. So just try to make the area have a little bit more in it, and the hope is that people will not notice just how much different your roof looks, if that's something that you feel your roof is struggling with. Ultimately, most people's builds don't look as bad as I think that they believe them to look. I often feel like my builds don't look that nice, and then I have hundreds of people every single day asking me for a tutorial on that build that I think that I didn't do that well on. And so just also don't be so hard on yourself. It will be okay if your build is not exactly perfect, because none of us are perfect, but most people will not view your build as harshly as you view your build. So we're finally getting into the end of the build, which is just finishing this upper area with the windows. And I know this was a less talkative build than the last time, partially because it was shorter and partially because I just didn't really have too much to talk about. But I really did enjoy this build, and I did a similar build for the sheep and pigs, but made it a bit larger. If you all are interested in more tutorials like this, you're definitely welcome to let me know. And if you have any suggestions for builds you'd like to see, definitely feel free to comment them down below. I hope to see you in future videos, and if you enjoyed this, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for future videos.